I can't come up with a good reason. I have no, even if you proved that the cracker included human DNA, I have no way of knowing it was Jesus's DNA. I don't have any reason to think that Jesus necessarily had any DNA. We have no way to investigate any of this. You are stacking story on story on story on story on faith. Is there any position, any opinion that anyone could not think was real and say it's a matter of faith?
Okay, beyond a matter of faith, how do you know you're talking to me?
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today, we're taking a look at a clip from The Line. If you would like to, please go down below to the description and find a link to The Line and to the live stream that this video clip is coming from. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to The Line. I host over on The Line at least twice a month, so I hope to see you over there. All right, let's get on into the clip. If you're ready to fuck around and find out what this crazy ass caller's talking about today, then please stay tuned. We actually do have a theist in the queue. Are you ready to pick them up there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm excited because it's not Rob.
All right, what's up there,
Hello?
Cody? How you doing?
Hey, Cody.
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Much better,
Doing
thank
all right.
you. I rip into theists on occasion, and getting to rip into a stupid atheist is one of my favorite things. So I'm already in a much better mood. I'm glad you're here.
Awesome.
Yep. So, Cody, what you want to talk about?
I've never listened before or anything, but an atheist internet friend of mine recommended that I call you guys.
Oh,
and,
they might not be your friend.
We've debated. It's fine. Yeah, I understand the subject is why we shouldn't be atheists.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, do you have an argument for why we should believe in God and we should not be an atheist?
If there isn't a God, then you should be atheist. And if there is, then you should want to properly worship that creator.
See, I think we're already starting with a fallacy, because atheist is someone who isn't convinced there's a God. That's completely independent from whether or not there is a God. There could be a God, and for example, let's imagine there's a God that none of us have sufficient evidence to conclude exists. We should still be atheists because we should not believe in something without sufficient evidence. So to me, the only reason to not be an atheist is when somebody's presented sufficient evidence for God. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's
cool.
Kind of what I was meaning to say.
Well, can I?
If you are unconvinced of a God,
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, I want to draw another distinction here because of how you framed your initial statement there. Because you framed your initial statement as if, like, if God exists, we should worship him. And I feel like, at least for me, if I were convinced that a God exists, that doesn't necessarily entail worship. So, like, if you were to prove to me that the Abrahamic God exists, I would definitely not worship him. I mean, I would probably go full, guerrilla warfare on that God. So, I mean, I just want to be specific. I can acknowledge God exists without worshiping that God.
Yeah, that's true. I more meant like the original meaning of worship, to give what they are worthy of.
Well, I don't think that Yahweh is worthy of any. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I'm just primarily interested in whether or not there's good reason to think that a God exists. And then after that, it can, then we can have discussions about what it deserves or whatever else. So right now, my only concern is there a good reason to think there is, in fact, a God?
I think there's a lot of good reasons from science to psychology. Humans have an inclination towards the belief in deity.
Okay, so how about?
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, John.
No. You go ahead, Matt. You were about to ask him a question.
Does the inclination towards believing something tell you anything at all about whether or not that thing is real?
It doesn't definitively tell you. No.
Does it tell you at all?
I think it is. I think it tells you a little bit. There's something in human nature. What does it tell you? If I believe in justice, isn't that just a belief in that this is what I would desire, and not tell you anything at all about whether or not justice exists or can, Well, if you believe in justice, can't you make it exist?
Not necessarily. I believe in justice, and I think the world's incredibly unjust right now, and I don't know what I can do to change that. But the issue here is that
others justly.
Yes.
Then you create justice.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that my belief in what should be. Okay, do I create God?
No. By definition, that would be impossible.
Then let's set aside this I create justice thing. If I really wish there were fairies, does that have anything to do with whether or not there are actually fairies?
No.
Cool. God is closer to the fairy category than the justice category. So since you think science proves God, maybe we should move on to that, because I'm more impressed by science than our psychological views, because there are things about our psychology that aren't in fact indicators of reality.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I'm sure you've probably heard all of the scientific arguments for God before. This is your job. The fine tune of the universe is a common one.
The universe,
how do you know
isn't
that
fine tuned?
Yeah. So have you heard of the what's it called, the urethra? I can't pronounce that word. There's a dilemma there.
The dilemma?
So yeah, Euthyphro dilemma.
I don't know what that has to do with fine tuning, but okay.
Well, no, sorry. I'm thinking maybe I've got my concepts mixed up here. Basically, it's the puddle argument, like Douglas Adams. Anthropic. Sorry, yes, anthropic principle. Basically what Douglas Adams said was he used an analogy, like there's a puddle that it's a sentient puddle, and it's sitting there thinking that, oh, this hole that I'm in is perfectly shaped for me, and it obviously the puddle is conforming to the shape of the hole, and that's the same thing with life. Life has evolved and has it been shaped by the universe that we exist within. So it's a little bit of a fallacious reasoning to then say, oh, well, this universe is fine tuned and everything. Also, you don't know what values could be in those supposed fine tuning, like variables or constants or whatever, that could also produce another universe. We've ran some simulations that have resulted in other universes existing. So the best that you can say is that the way that our universe is configured right now produces our kind of life, but there's no way for you to know if another configuration could produce life in a different kind of way, or similar ways or whatever. So like it's literally just fine tuning just simply doesn't work.
Okay, so you're saying that very specific other tunings could possibly create life?
No.
But not any tuning.
No, I'm saying that we don't know.
No. So how many different ways could the universe possibly be, and how many of those could possibly produce life?
Well, to be honest, the answer to both of those is infinite, but obviously the infinite of the first is much larger than the infinite of the second.
Okay. I disagree on, let's just say, all counts, because first of all, infinity isn't a quantity. Second of all, the number of possible universes is not necessarily infinite. I don't know how you concluded that, but my answer is when you say, no, the puddle example doesn't say anything about infinite anything. The issue that I'm asking is how many different ways could the universe be? And the answer is, we don't have any way of knowing. We don't have any other universes to compare it with. We don't know what all the possible factors are related to that. So it is, the answer is, we don't know. And so when we say, is the universe fine-tuned for life? The implication there is, because there is life, it is a reasonable inference that the universe was guided towards or intended some form of life. That's how we get to notions of theism. But in reality, what if the universe has no intent, does not care about anything, and we are merely the type of life that can exist in the universe we're in? If that's the case, and I don't know how you prove that that's not the case, then the appearance of design that you and others might want to point to is not design, but is an inference of an appearance of design. How do you tell the difference between actual intended design and your inference that there is design?
Well, I suppose you wouldn't be able to,
Okay. So why are you pretending that you can?
Okay. We can move on to another line then. I'll submit that.
But here's the thing. I'm genuinely, I'm ready for the next line here in just a second. Can you go to the best one next? Because if we just start knocking down all of them one at a time, I mean, it'd be really cool if we had like the best one to knock down first.
My belief in God is rooted in personal experience. I didn't really study this particular subject of scientific evidence.
Okay. That's fine. But you're the one that called in and said that, there's science. If you wanted to say, hey, it's based on personal experience, my question would be, what personal experience could anyone have that would be sufficient to conclude that a God is real?
They could meet God.
Okay. How would you know if you've met God?
Miraculous events that break reality, break the rules we understand about reality.
Right. But I just want to point out that you in no way distinguish God from just a wizard at that point. Like, I mean, if you had a wizard that could somehow manifest things, cast a spell and create a dog right in front of you, like that would meet the criteria for God. Is that wizard now God?
Have you ever met a wizard that can create a dog?
Have you ever met a God that can create anything?
Yes. It's personal experience. Yes.
No, personal experience is not, I mean, you're just claiming something. So what I'm trying to find out is,
I know.
I've had personal experiences. I was a fundamentalist Christian for a number of years. I had plenty of experiences that I was convinced at the time were sufficient to conclude that a God exists. And all I'm trying to do is find out, how can one tell that they've actually had an experience with God? And your answer seemed to be, if there's some miraculous physics-defying thing. Well, how do you know whether or not it's miraculous and physics-defying? And how do you know that the way it defied physics was because it's a God?
What else could defy the laws of the universe?
What else could defy the laws of the universe? This is a particular logical fallacy where you're essentially saying this conclusion stands until it's disproven. It's an argument from personal incredulity or an argument from ignorance, if you prefer. It's a variety of that, where you are essentially saying,
Isn't that what you're making?
No. When did I commit any fallacy?
I mean, you also don't have any proof that God doesn't exist.
I don't need proof that God doesn't exist. I'm not even claiming that God doesn't exist. I'm claiming that I don't have sufficient reason to believe there is a God. Atheism is not the assertion that there is no God. Atheism is not being convinced that there is a God. The burden of proof is on the people who are making a claim. You're claiming there's good reason to believe in God. My claim is you're wrong. There's not good reason to believe in God. And every time you give a reason, we find an exception that you accepted or a fallacy that you tried to dismiss. If you can't come up with a good reason to believe in God, then my position that you don't have a good reason to believe in God is kind of demonstrated, isn't it?
I feel that I have a sufficient reason to believe in God, the same way you feel that you don't have sufficient reason to believe in God.
If you feel that you have a sufficient reason to believe in God, do you feel that your justification for believing in God should be sufficient for anybody else?
I think everyone is different.
Well, that wasn't even in the ballpark of an answer to my question.
I think everybody has a different personality, and what I find to be a sufficient evidence is personal.
Cody, does the fact that people have different personalities change what is factually true about reality? Like, does a God stop existing if you have a particular personality?
No.
Does the evidential warrant for a belief change if you have a different personality?
It would seem that it does, based on people's beliefs.
No, it doesn't. A view is warranted. Is it possible that you could have standards of evidence that are so horribly low that you wind up believing a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah, obviously.
Cool. If we were to apply the best standards of evidence that work the best to avoid falling into the trap of believing in bullshit, can you demonstrate that a God exists to that standard of evidence?
Personally, No, I can't perform miracles. I never have.
I didn't ask you to perform miracles. This is the bizarre thing is when we get here to this point, I just asked a question about to what extent you think you can demonstrate it. And then you're like, no, I can't perform miracles. I didn't for a moment suspect that you could perform miracles. I'm just trying to figure out whether or not you are one of those people who are comfortable thinking you have a good reason, but not caring whether or not your reasons are in fact good. There's loads of people who do that. I used to do that. I thought I had good reasons for believing God, both the scientific reasons and the personal experience. I remember standing in church, singing, feeling euphoric and elation, getting goosebumps, and being told by the people around me that that was me being filled by the Holy Spirit. They all believed it was the Holy Spirit. I believed it was the Holy Spirit. Was it the Holy Spirit? I have no reason to think that it was. I had bad reasons for reaching that conclusion. And when I decided to care more about whether or not my reasons were good than whether it felt good, that's when I realized I didn't have good reasons for believing in God. And good reasons for, do you think it would be the case that a God could exist and you could have good reason to believe in that God that you couldn't share with other people to verify it? Genuine question. Okay. So you basically you're suggesting God might reveal himself to you, but not to me.
Yes.
Cool. We're right back to where we were a minute ago. So let me get to this question. How can you tell if God revealed itself to you? The question, I guess, is how do you tell the difference between a God and something that you do not understand?
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely understand your line of reasoning here. It's a big question. Just trying to think for a second.
Yeah, go right ahead. I'll even stop talking.
Well, I think we're all limited by our understandings, and
agreed.
How would I know?
How would anybody know? Arthur C. Clarke famously. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, if there's some technology created by humans or extraterrestrials or something that I'm unaware of, then they could theoretically, if they have the technology to do whatever the crazy thing is, then they could do it.
Yeah, this is the point that Arthur C. Clarke made. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And so I don't have any way of telling the difference between some sort of seemingly miraculous event that is from a God and the same event that is from some technology. But you know what's weird? None of the seemingly miraculous events ever fucking occur. Like people don't regrow limbs. We have lizards that can regrow limbs, but people don't regrow limbs. But even if a human being regrew a limb, we would then begin to investigate to find out if there's a natural explanation. Are there similar? I mean, we're all evolved from the same tetrapod base. And if there are lizards that have genes that allow them to regrow limbs, and starfish can do it, even though they're not from the tetrapod base, is it that outlandish that a human would be able to? I don't know. But if it ever happened, our first conclusion wouldn't be, wow, that's a miracle from God. Our first conclusion should be, how the hell did that happen? And then if we don't ever find a mechanism, we can still not be justified in saying, oh, a God did it. The God did it is a conclusion, and that has to be the result of evidence for that conclusion, not a lack of evidence for other possible conclusions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got personal experience, like, for example, I don't know what I mean, you're free to tell us, Cody. I'm not trying to pry into how you think God has interacted with you, because I get it. For some people, it's really personal and private type thing. But I don't know how to tell the difference between a God and a really advanced technology that I don't understand. I don't know how to tell the difference between something that's perfect and something that's just way better than me. I don't know how to tell the difference between something that is infinitely or all powerful or just really, really powerful. but I don't have to, because nothing in this life ever happens that is so bizarre that we're justified in saying, ooh, that is unnatural. We can say things seem unnatural. We can say we don't currently have a natural explanation for it, but we can't reach the conclusion that it's not natural, because that would require us to have exhaustive knowledge of the natural, right? Like if you don't know everything about the natural world, how could you ever conclude that something isn't natural?
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks. I don't know what else to add, because I mean, this is probably the best conversation I've had in 5 years. And not because I'm making points and you're agreeing. That's not the point. I'm not suspecting you're going to become an atheist tonight or tomorrow or anything else. I ask these questions.
No?
Yeah. I ask these questions all the time. And it's so rare to get somebody to say, oh yeah, no, that's the case. So I would love to know, and this is not a question for you to even necessarily dig in and try to answer right now, Cody, but if there in fact is a God, I would love to know. I don't know how to go about testing that claim. And every time somebody comes for 20 years I've been doing this, every time somebody comes and tells me, here's how you can know that God exists, it has either been fallacious, unverifiable, or absolute nonsense. Like, oh, if you go out into the woods at night and you take a mirror that's in a wooden frame and you hold it underneath running water and you tie a rope around your waist and have somebody hang on to it so you don't get sucked into the spirit realm, and you say this incantation, then God will reveal himself to you. It's weird stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
What's the possibility, Cody, that in your mind, is there any likelihood that there isn't a God at all, but that humans are the type of creatures that, with mistakes in thinking and fear of the unknown and fear of being alone, we make mistakes in thinking that lead us to be confident in something that isn't real?
People do that all the time.
As soon as we can tell the difference between somebody doing that with their specific God and everybody else's God that they don't believe in, I can't wait. Like, that'd be awesome.
That would be a great day.
Yep.
Yeah, Cody, if I can ask, maybe before we leave out here, how do you distinguish your personal experience, with your God, from people of other religions that have similar personal experiences, like a Muslim that has a personal experience with Allah, or any of the other religions out there? How do you distinguish your personal experience with your God versus all the others?
I'm not aware of Muslims claiming vision manifestations.
You've had visual hallucinations?
Yeah, that would be the scientific term.
Oh, okay. I think maybe a good reference to Recovering from Religion Foundation here might be in order or something. I don't know if you're suffering visual hallucinations there. Have you sought
I'm not. I had a miraculous event.
What was
Hold
it?
on,
if you don't mind.
Confused.
Okay. Well, I am a Christian. I'm a Catholic. I believe in, apparitions.
Okay.
Like ghosts or demonic possessions, or?
No, like Saint Mary appearing to the children at Fatima, and then later tens of thousands of other people, including atheists.
Okay. How do you know what it was?
No, I wasn't at Fatima.
I didn't ask if you were there. I asked how you knew that's what it was.
Oh, the apparition that I saw?
Yeah. What was the apparition that you saw, and how do you know what it was?
well, in the parameters of like the conversation, how we've already agreed that there's no way I couldn't know that it's not some advanced technology or something. In that light, I wouldn't be able to prove to somebody, but I have the belief that it was an actual apparition.
How did you rule out some sort of mental aberration or defect?
Because I have no history of that, and it's never happened since.
Have you been evaluated and diagnosed?
You realize, I've definitely not been diagnosed.
Do you realize the first time? Do you realize the first time? Do you realize the first time that someone sees an apparition, they have no history prior to that?
Yeah.
Cool. So all I'm saying is, if you haven't ruled out some sort of mental defect or some sort of environmental defect or any number of things that are plausible explanations, how can you be confident that what you saw was an apparition of Mary?
I didn't see an apparition of Mary. Okay. It was of Christ.
What do you look like?
Like Christ, like the Levantine white person with the beard and long hair.
The white person with beard and long hair?
You think a Middle Eastern?
This is a joke call. This is why Cody agreed to everything right down the line. You went from best caller to worst caller.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
So, Cody, because no rational person is going to think that the Jesus Christ was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white dude in the Middle East in the 1st century. Like, why would you think that?
Why would you think that's impossible? 11 people are white.
Was Jesus Jewish?
Yes.
Okay.
What color are Jewish?
How many of those fit the description of what you say?
Many of them.
Many of them are white?
Yes.
Okay.
17 people are white, yes. Okay. The Arab invasion didn't happen until the 7th and 8th century.
Okay.
The Arab invasion. Okay. All right, Cody. I feel like there's no.
How do you know?
There's nothing.
How do you know that your apparition of Jesus was actually Jesus? Please say you can tell by the way it is.
What do you? I'm a little confused about how you think that Levantine people aren't white. First of all,
there's a lot of dispute about if Jesus actually existed, what he may or may not have looked like. But generally speaking, you're in Utah, right? So you're not a Mormon?
No, I'm not a Mormon.
Have you been to one of the Mormon temples where they have the big blonde, blue-eyed Jesus?
I've been to a Mormon church, like not to attend a service or anything, but I've been inside of a Mormon church.
Yeah. And so you've seen their blonde, blue-eyed Jesus. Did yours look like that?
Roughly. Okay. I mean, it wasn't the same model.
The fact
Anything else you want to punk us on for a little while?
Come on, Cody. Don't stop bullshitting us. Are you really an atheist that's just trying to play up as a theist?
No,
Have you been trolling us for 30 minutes?
Baptized and confirmed Catholic.
Okay, Cody, does the Eucharist actually turn into the physical body of Jesus?
The substance of the Eucharist changes into the true body and blood of Jesus.
Okay. What does that mean? Because if I took a Eucharist To me, the substance is cracker.
No, that would be the form or the accident.
Okay. What's the substance?
Bread. Food.
How do you verify that the substance becomes Jesus?
Okay. So there's the rite of consecration that happens.
I didn't ask what happened. I asked how to verify that the substance becomes Jesus.
Well, there's Eucharistic miracles where they do, this is rare, but they do become blood and flesh. Human heart tissue.
First of all, that's also not an answer to the question that I asked. I asked how you confirm that the substance becomes Jesus. I didn't ask whether or not there's bullshit reports about it becoming blood, because even if it became blood, how would you know it's Jesus's blood? And why would Jesus allow some crackers to have blood and others to just be substance? Make it make sense.
Okay, Eucharistic miracles only happen when a priest is having a lapse of faith during the act of consecration?
Okay, how do you know that? Are you able to analyze someone else's psychology to figure out when they're having a lapse of faith?
No, they self-report.
Oh, they self-report?
Yeah.
Cool. So that doesn't answer my question of how do you tell that the substance becomes Jesus?
Of faith that the act of consecration is held up by our Creator.
Okay.
He instituted
faith.
it.
Faith is the excuse people give for believing something when they don't have a good reason. Do you have a good reason to think the substance becomes Jesus?
Okay, what would you consider a good reason?
I'm asking you.
Like in general.
You tell me what you think the good reason is, and I will tell you whether or not I agree it's a good reason. I can't come up with a good reason. I have even if you proved that the cracker included human DNA, I have no way of knowing it was Jesus's DNA. I don't have any reason to think that Jesus necessarily had any DNA. We have no way to investigate any of this. You are stacking story on story on story on story on faith. Is there any position, any opinion that anyone could not think was real and say it's a matter of faith?
Okay. Beyond a matter of faith, how do you know you're talking to me? Like a person, how do you know you're talking to a person?
Smart ass. I asked a specific question. I have no idea. My question was what?
How do I know that the Eucharist in the act of consecration becomes the body and blood of Christ?
No, my question was, is there any position that someone could not advocate for and just say that it's a matter of faith, that it is a faith position? Like, could you believe that white people are better than brown people as a faith position?
Of course you could.
Cool. So is faith in any way a path to truth?
No, but without faith,
cool. No, it's not a but. It's not a but. It's just no. And so now we have to set aside faith. So aside from faith, what reason do you have to believe that the substance of the Eucharist becomes Jesus?
Well, faith would be the reason. So
no. We just ruled out faith can't be the reason, because faith can lead to true things and faith can lead to false things. So faith can't be the reason for believing something.
That's what I just said, is without faith, then there would be no reason.
Oh, okay. So you're basically saying you don't have a reason.
No, I have faith.
Okay. But faith is not in any way an indicator of truth. So basically, when you say you have faith, you're admitting you don't have a good reason, but you're going to believe it anyway.
Okay.
Right? Why would you believe things without a good reason?
Do you believe in anything without a good reason?
I don't know. I'm not here to be grilled. You're the one that advocates for something. What difference does it make whether or not I believe in something without good reason if you do? I asked, why would you believe in something without a good reason? Why, when you're cornered, would you turn it around and suggest that what I think is relevant to whether or not you're rational?
I believe that faith is involved in everybody's life at nearly every turn.
Nope. Faith is not a justification. There is no faith in my life. There is confidence that is based on evidence. There are necessary presuppositions and axioms, but faith is the excuse that people like you give for believing things when you don't have a good reason. If you ask me what I believe and then say, what's your reason for believing it? I can give you my reason. You, on the other hand, are basically saying you don't have a good reason. And I'm asking, why would you knowingly believe something that you have to say you don't have a good reason for?
I believe faith is a good reason.
No, you don't. You've already acknowledged that. Faith can lead to true things and false things. So how can faith be a good reason if there's no way to measure how reliable it is at being accurate?
Well, I do have evidence, and I have faith that that evidence concludes that what I believe is true.
But you understand how what Matt pointed out there is that faith can't give you good indications as to what is true. Like we've already established that fact, right? Like you're not disagreeing here that faith can lead you to false information, right?
People have faith in all sorts of things. Of course, they can be wrong in their faith.
Cool. How do you tell?
He said he was a fundamentalist. I believe that fundamentalists are extremely flawed in their faith.
I agree too. Now, how do you tell the difference between whether a faith-based position is true or not?
Well, evidence.
Okay. So, apart from your faith, what is the evidence that the substance of the Eucharist turns into Jesus?
Miraculous events regarding that particular process.
No, sir. No, sir. You already acknowledged that without faith, there isn't evidence for this. And now you're saying, oh, miraculous events. A event that happened that you think is miraculous. How do you show that it is in fact miraculous and confirmation of the Eucharist transformation into Jesus?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either, but you're the one that's advocating for that position. Do you see the problem here? You're basically saying, hey, I don't have a good reason, but I'm still believing it. Isn't that something we would just call irrational?
Humans do all sorts of secular things on faith every day, and we accept them as rational.
Now you are desperately in the let me flail around and engage in whataboutism. I don't care if humans are regularly irrational. The issue here is your belief rational. And you saying that other people are also irrational does not, all you're doing is admitting that you're irrational and you fucking know it.
Yeah, we're flawed.
And how do you know that you're not flawed in your belief, like in your faith?
I think the overwhelming evidence discredits all other faiths.
What evidence? You have not provided a single fucking one. No, I'm sorry. Like we've been spinning around up shit creek with one paddle for a while now.
Cody,
okay, Cody.
I told you earlier that Islam doesn't have apparitions. Remember that?
Sorry, Cody, it's irrelevant. Whether Islam has apparitions is irrelevant to whether what you think are apparitions for you are in fact apparitions for you.
Okay.
Okay, so why are you bringing up Islam? And why are you bringing up other people who are rational? And why are you bringing up that we're broken people? The issue here is your belief rationally justified? And the answer appears to be no. And then the follow-up question is, why don't you care that your belief isn't rationally justified? And now I'd love an answer to that. Why is it that you don't care whether or not you're rational?
I try to be rational. And
that's not an answer to my question. And no, you're not trying to be rational, because you're knowingly acknowledging that you're not rational. And yet, what are you doing to correct that?
I am trying to be rational. And what I'm trying to do to correct my flawed nature is worship God and consume the Eucharist to commune with the divinity.
Cody, okay. What makes you think that communing with God is in any way removing your irrationality?
It's made me a better person.
Does that mean you're more rational?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. What about it makes you a better person? In what way are you a better person? Are you okay with gay marriage?
No.
And you're a better person?
Is a religious institution.
No, it's not. A marriage is
no, it's not.
You can have your church sanction your marriage, but the only marriage that counts is what the government is sanctioning with regard to the benefits that come along with that. Survivors benefits, partner benefits, things like that. Nobody cares if you and your church do a ritual and you and your partner are convinced that God sanctions your marriage, and none of us give a fuck if you think a gay marriage isn't sanctioned. But my question was, how does that make you a better person? How does it make you a better person to be opposed to gay marriage?
Because gay marriage can't fulfill the goal of marriage, the actual point.
There is no goal of marriage.
The fucking goal of marriage other than entering into a marriage. I mean, you're just entering into like a governmental contract with another person. Like, that's all the fucking marriage is.
You think marriage is only for producing kids?
Marriage is family and children.
Okay, so people who can't get pregnant are not in real marriages.
I didn't say that.
Fuck you, Cody.
Well,
you just said
you're not.
You're so full of shit right now. We're trying to figure out how that makes you a better person, and all you did was assert that it is in fact inconsistent with your view of what marriage is supposed to be. Nobody gives a fuck what your view of marriage is supposed to be. Nobody gives a fuck what the Catholic Church's view of marriage should be. Why are you supporting a criminal organization that moves rapist priests around?
Okay, you're getting way off the weeds here. So,
I'm not in the weeds, motherfucker. It's time for me to stop toying with you. It's time to eat the food that I've been playing with. Why are you supporting a criminal organization that shields child rapists from prosecution? Tell me how you're a better person by doing that. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
You advocated for the government's call on marriage. Does that mean you advocate for public school, which also rapes children?
Cody, my question is, how does it make you a better person to support a criminal organization that shields child rapists from prosecution?
Why do you keep putting all these things attached to
how does it make you a better person to support a criminal organization that shields child rapists from prosecution, you sick fuck?
Yeah, I never said it did.
You never said what?
We're telling you that it did.
Aren't you a Catholic?
We're telling.
Don't you support the Catholic Church?
I support the teachings of the Catholic Church, not the actions of every individual member of the magisterium.
Hold on. So Cody, do you tithe to your Catholic Church? You pay tithes?
Catholics don't tithe. Tithing is an old covenant thing. Catholics provide for the needs of the church.
Yes. You donate to your church, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And your church is part of the broader Catholic organization, correct?
No, they would go to the parish that I attend.
No. Your church is part of a broader Catholic organization, correct? Like subject to the Pope and the Vatican, right?
Yeah, all Catholics are. Yeah.
And that organization is a criminal organization that shields child rapists from prosecution. So now that we've had to handwalk your dishonest punk ass down to that point, why does it mean that you're a better person if you're supporting a criminal organization that shields child rapists from prosecution?
Yeah, and Cody, before you say anything, I mean, when you give money to your local parish, that money goes to the head organization, the Catholic Church, and it helps protect pedophile priests. They have $1 billion slush fund for buying off victims to keep their silence.
Okay. The Catholic Church teaches that sexual abuse of anyone is a sin.
Okay.
Then why do they hide pedophiles?
Are they shielding the rapists from prosecution?
Yeah, I don't know. Catholics aren't particularly happy about that either. You know that most priests.
Then why do they continue to do it? If Catholics are not happy with the fact that the Catholic Church is hiding pedophiles and has continued to do so, then why do they keep supporting it? Why do they keep giving money to the Catholic Church? Why does the Catholic Church even still exist at this point if the Catholics are so up in arms about priests diddling kids?
The thing is, Cody, I think you might be a better person if you stopped supporting the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Yeah. Cody, we've been going for 50 minutes now. And we do have another theist caller, so we're just I don't know. I'm kind of tired of the conversation. I don't know, Matt. Do you want to continue eating your food?
No, I'm full.
Okay. All right, Cody. Thank you for calling in. Tell your friend thanks for pointing you our direction.
Yeah. I hope you guys have a good day.
Okay. All right. Stop supporting the Roman Catholic Church. All right. Great. Okay. Well, heathens, that's going to be it for today's clip from the line. Again, if you would like to subscribe to the line, their links are in the description. So please go down there and subscribe. And as a reminder, I do host over there at least twice a month on either a Sunday or a Monday. So if you want to see more of me answering questions from callers, please go over to the line and subscribe. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.